for your life. You got another thing coming.
This is going to be a short review of the KJW MK2. It's going to be short, sweet, and to the point, and hopefully get all of your questions answered. If not, there'll be a link below to the extensive review that I have also done. So as you probably noticed, this isn't the way the gun comes stock. This is a modified version that I've done myself. We're going to talk about the non-modified version first, so the stock version. First things first is FPS. So the FPS of the MK2 stock was around 450 to 480. It was very hard to read on my chrono because it is a CO2 gun. I think the CO2 was messing with the chrono in some sort of way. I'm not really sure though. As you can see, it was jumping all over, but in reality, it got about 450 to 480, and that's what a lot of people online and KJW themselves have talked about, how their gun shoots at around 450 with 0.2 gram BBs. Next up, we have accuracy. Now, accuracy for the stock version of this gun was actually really good. I was hitting out to 160 feet very easily and could hit a target, and you could hear it hit the target pretty hard from 160 feet. It could definitely get out to the ranges of 160 feet, but at that range, it was still a little inaccurate. It was not as good as a rifle, obviously, and that might be due to the long trigger pull and the non-adjustable sights and so on and so forth. At 100 feet and 50 feet, it was the accuracy was great, exactly what you want, but remember again, the FPS is 450, so I'm not sure what park would allow you to go within certain distances at 450 FPS. Moving on to final impressions of the original version of this. So the stock version was very well built. It was all metal except for the lower frame, which is plastic, but very well built plastic. I'm not worried about it breaking at all. It's pretty easy to adjust the FPS with just taking this out, pushing this pin out, pulling the spring, and then cutting the spring, or getting a new spring. I have both a stock spring and a shorter 300 FPS or thereabouts spring as well. Now, stock, I probably wouldn't recommend this gun because it was louder than my FNX 45 and didn't really do anything better than any other pistol. Like, it didn't have a faster trigger response, it didn't have a faster follow-up shots because the trigger pull is so long, and it was louder and it wasn't as accurate as some of the TMs, so I probably wouldn't recommend it. Personally, I probably wouldn't use it stock, but it has great reliability and the CO2 will always work even in very, very cold weather, and so that was a really nice thing to see. Although, with all the other downsides, I probably wouldn't use it. Alright, now moving on to the modified version. So that is when the pistol got a lot more usable. Moving on to FPS, I modified it to shoot 300 FPS with the hammer spring back here. Just cutting it down one link made it shoot 305 to 310 FPS. And that was great. That's right in the range I need it to be able to use it at certain parks that are near me. Basically, you just push this pin out, this long flip switch thing will come out along with a ball bearing and a spring, and then you can cut the spring down or you can change it with another spring, whatever you want to do, put it all back in and put it together just like it came out, and then the FPS has been changed. In reality, the FPS is very modular. You can basically do whatever you want to do with it, and if you're pretty good with modifying it yourself. Accuracy. So this is actually one of the shortcomings of the pistol, is the accuracy at lower FPS. So I was shooting it at around 300 and 310 FPS, and the accuracy really dropped off, like badly, like very, very badly. And at 100 feet, it was still pretty hard to hit the target. I would have to do a couple of follow-up shots. I think 100-foot range is its max effective range. Past that, I actually couldn't hit the 160-foot target. And if I would have probably laid a couple of magazines into it, yes, I probably could have hit it, but I would have had to arc the BBs and it would have been pretty bad and a lot of shots. So 50 feet, it was still pretty doable. Very easy to hit a target at 50 feet, but 100 foot was basically its max effective range at 300 FPS. Now, that was kind of ironic to me because in Airsoft, a lot of the newer players believe FPS equates accuracy, and most people who've been playing for a while know that FPS does not equate accuracy, but in this case, it actually did. So, irony there, but moving on. So, at the 450 FPS, because I kept both springs, this shot great. After modifying it, it shot great still at 450 FPS. So, if you have it at a higher FPS, the accuracy is great. If you have it at a lower FPS, the accuracy starts to drop off. And last, so I made a Kydex holster for this, and usually with pistols that have suppressors, it's very hard to make a Kydex holster for them. It was surprisingly easy to make a Kydex holster for it, and it is actually very easy to pull in and out. And I have a, this is the Shogun shotgun attachment onto it, so I can put a light onto it, and it doesn't fall out. So I can shake this thing around, and it really doesn't fall out. It does move a little bit within this holster, but in reality, it was pretty easy to make a Kydex holster for this, and it is sometimes very hard to make a Kydex holster for pistols with suppressors. So that brings me to my last part of the pistol, which is really overall general feelings of it, and that accuracy at the lower FPS really gave me a hard time with this pistol. And so it's still a great pistol to me, and I will be using it, but it is very hard for me to recommend this pistol now. Now, I don't want to recommend it, and I won't not recommend it, so you really have to decide for yourself. What I will tell you is I will be using it, and I will be having a lot of fun with it, and hopefully that will tell you something. Now, I've been having a lot of fun with it, even though the accuracy is kind of bad. At 300 FPS, it is so quiet. It is so very quiet that I think if I was at 50 feet, I doubt that they would hear me if they were even whispering or having some sort of conversation. So in reality, this pistol is very on the fence to me. It was really right in between not recommending it and recommending it highly. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. I'm going to go play with it, and be sure to stay tuned for some gameplay footage of this, because I think that'll become really interesting with how quiet it is. I think it'll bring a new dynamic to some gameplay. Hopefully this was enough information for you to learn a little bit more about the KJW MK2. If this wasn't enough information, then please check out my extended review on the MK2. It'll be in the link below. And if you want to see how I actually made it from the original pistol into this, how I modified it, then that video is also going to be in the link below, or it might be up here floating around. So thank you for watching, and be sure to tune in for some gameplay footage of this and some other reviews and some other modifications. So please like and subscribe. That really helps me stay motivated. And thank you for watching, and play honorably, play hard, and remember to have fun. This is Hero, signing off.